Okay. Uh, Talking about love. Uh, a lot of us Christians don't really love God, don't really love people. Without love for God, we cannot love people. We cannot love. Uh, we cannot love our spouses unconditionally. We cannot forgive. The Bible talks about love is patient, love is kind, love hopes all things. Love, love, love is does not seek to repay wrongs. Okay, the Bible talks about loving God unconditionally, whether we're rich, whether we're poor, whether we're whole, whether we're disfigured, whether we lose our family, whether we lose our wife, whether we lose our kids, whether we lose our reputation. A Christian is supposed to love God in spite of it all. A lot of us speak on that. It's very me-centered. Okay? Very little of the cross is preached. Very little of the pain and sacrifice is taught. I mean, the loving sacrifice is taught of how the disciples love Christ, but not really emphasizes how we're supposed to do that in our own lives. Okay? We say we love God, but we despise Him in our hearts. We worship Him in vain, but our hearts are far from Him. When He calls, we run. When He speaks things we don't want to hear, we ignore Him, tune Him out. But He's represented as who He is, whether through radio or through, you may come across a preacher on social media. We tuned off that preacher and focus on the God we've made up in our own mind and hearts to make this life a little easier to do what we want to do, a little easier to have friends we know will hinder our faith, to be in certain assemblies that we know is not for Christ, but is for ourselves. To make us comfortable. And we know the God that we claim to serve was homeless. That was persecuted. Almost thrown off a cliff. Raised the person from the dead and was hunted and was sought to be killed. Even the person that He raised from the dead, which was Lazarus. That's the love that He requires us to have, yet we shun Him. He says that you could give your body up to be burned, but if you have love, you have nothing. If you just preach the gospel with many words, but you don't have love, you're just a crashing cymbal. I'm guilty of this too, just to let you know. And, you know, it's not easy. But as Christians, we don't have a choice. Right? We have to have this love. So many are going to a Christless eternity because we don't show them love. We don't preach this gospel. We don't share the truth. We don't stand against evil. We worship politicians and government. We worship anything but God, who we spend most of our time with. And it's sad that the God of America is materialism. Many of us grew up without, so we worked really hard to get what we wanted. And we shunned people who told us about the Christ that was poor. Christ was poor. In his love, out of his poverty, he made us rich. Those who want to be born again and live for him. It is up to us to show that love to others. God will never force us to love him. He'll warn us. He'll never force us. It's always up to us to show that love. Because without love, you're nothing. And God is love, right? Not the love of the LGBT. Love that warns. Love that if someone is hungry, you feed them. If someone needs a cup of water, you give them water. If somebody is in prison, you visit them. Right? Jesus said, if you do these things, you do these things unto me. It's love. Also speaking the truth in love. You can speak the truth, but also speak in love. Love is the foundation of the gospel. True love. So, I hope this is a blessing to you, hearing this. God's love is so powerful that it's put in a book to preach it, to share it, to help you with your life. If you want to tell your daughter how to find a good godly man, tell her what love is. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not behave itself unseemly. Love does not seek to fornicate, have sex before marriage, or try to convince a woman to have sex before marriage because you can't control your lust. Love does not try to dress provocatively to get a boy's attention, to get a man's attention. She dressed modestly and has godly character and stands in godly character and says, I don't have sex before marriage. You don't like it, you go somewhere else, but I'm going to be God's kid. That's God's love, written in the book to tell us how to raise our kids. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Not to abuse a kid, but, when a spanking is needed, a spanking is needed. When things have to be taken away because a child is misbehaving, things have to be taken away from the child. And in some cases, if a child has to be told, look, you got to move out, it's out of love, you got to move out because you're not respecting the rules of the house, you're not behaving godly, and your influence is going to corrupt your siblings, so you have to go. That is love. Even the love of Jesus sending someone to hell because they refuse to obey him and refuse to repent and live the way he wants them to live. That is love. Because if to put you in heaven, that would be hell. Because everything that you lust and desire is not in heaven. Sex is not in heaven. Pornography is not in heaven. Telling lies is not in heaven. Bullying is not in heaven. Violence is not in heaven. Dirty movies is not in heaven. So that's love. All right? You can say, how could a loving God put somebody in hell? My question to that is, when someone breaks the law and commits murder, do you think it's love that that person goes away scot-free while the victims suffer? No. Love is the fact you're going to pay the price for what you did. That's love. Okay? You cheat on your taxes? All right? Do you think it's right that that person goes away scot-free and not pay taxes while everybody else got to pay taxes and possibly face a fine? No. Cheating on your taxes, you pay the price. If there's consequences for doing wrong in this world, all right, there's consequences for doing wrong against God. Those are the consequences. That is life. Okay? There's a reason why the Ten Commandments are the building block of many Judeo-Christian influenced countries, because those countries are civilized, because those laws are built on love. Shall not steal, shall not defraud thy neighbor, shall not covet thy neighbor's goods, thy wife, thy neighbor's servants, or anything that is thy neighbor's. You shall not lie, you shall not steal, you shall not commit murder, you shall not kill, you shall not have any false gods before me, because those gods can't help you. They lie to you, they steal, they deceive you. You yourself as a god, you'll be deceived. Alright? Honor your mother and your father. Because the reality is, even though your parents may not be perfect, you may not like them, how you get along with your parents can affect how you get along with the opposite sex. I'll say it again. How you get along with your parents will determine how you get along with the opposite sex. All right? A woman who curses her father, hates her father, that's that same way she's going to be treating men. A man who does the same, vice versa. All right? He's going to have a hard time dealing with authority and even dealing with women. So it says, honor your mother and your father. It was told out of love. That's what it is. So, you have a good day and be blessed in the name of the Lord.